My Lords, I beg to move my two amendments 123 and 124, quite large amendments, my Lord, and I would say significant proposals, and I have cut down what I'm going to say given the time. These work based in large part on the work of the Sheffield Political Economy Research Institute, known as SPERI, particularly Professor Andrew Baker there, and the Tax Justice Network, particularly Nicholas Shaxson. I'll begin with 123, since it flows on from an early exchange between the Noble Earl, the Minister, and myself, which the Noble Earl kindly continued by letter, confirming my assumption that the source of his claim for the annual tax revenue for the financial sector of £76 billion came from a PricewaterhouseCoopers report. But that, of course, is a gross figure, one that reflects income but not costs. It is in no way an impact assessment, and it is a pity that the noble lady Baroness Noakes isn't with us now. But what this amendment proposes is that within 12 months of the passing of this Act and every subsequent 5 years, the responsible bodies must separately provide reports to the relevant committees of the Commons and the Lords, and they must also consult with the Financial Scrutiny and Oversight Network, which I'll get to shortly. Behind this is the fact that there's now a large body of academic literature known as the too much finance literature, which supports the idea that some countries, including most certainly the United Kingdom, suffer from the finance curse. Too much finance makes us poorer. It seems that the City of London passed the point of optimal finance sometime in the 1980s and has grown massively since then, harming the UK economy. The only study of which I'm aware to have attempted to quantify the damage from SPERI estimated in 2019 that excess finance reduced economic growth by a cumulative 4.5 trillion from 1995 to 2015. This is the finance curse. One of the easiest ways to think about this is about its consumption of human resources. And the example I'll use demonstrates the reason for the inclusions of many elements of the suggested report. A bright young woman from Newcastle finishes a PhD in mathematics. She might go into academic research, advancing human knowledge. She might go into manufacturing, refining or advancing practices and approaches to improve productivity and create new products. Or there's the lure of the city, of huge salaries and bonuses and glossy excitement. And she may well go on to invent the next fancy financial instrument that brings down a bank or two, after it's made a lot of money for a few people along the way. She'll be based in London, of course, where all that money is sucked to, including the money from privatised local services, care homes, PFI schools, hospitals and roads, outsourced contracts for security and social care from up and down the country. For the concentration of money in a small part of the country is another part of the finance curse, a major contributor to the UK's world-leading position of regional inequality. Now, in contemplating how to approach the finance curse in legislation, I might have taken the Goldilocks approach, calling for the government to work out what the just right size of the financial sector is in the UK is, and to develop policies to deliver it. But we've referred much to another impact of the financial sector, its lobbying power, and not just within the Conservative Party that forms our current government. So the amendment takes a softer approach. All it asks for is accurate, independent information and transparency, something the Noble Earl's reliance on figures from PricewaterhouseCoopers demonstrates is clearly lacking. Now, I referred to the Financial Scrutiny and Oversight Network. The acronym FSN perhaps needs some work. It is, in essence, a UK equivalent of the EU's Finance Watch. Now, I'm sure expert Noble Lords will be aware of Finance Watch, how it came into being and subsequently acted. With the mandate of making finance serve society, it was established in 2010 by a group of MEPs, including Greens, with a grant tasked with providing advice and counter-submissions to parliamentarians on pieces of financial regulatory legislation. In particular, they were given the job of identifying, amending and removing clauses that placed excess costs and risks on the wider public. Now, I've shared with many Noble Lords an account of its successes. Now, I commented earlier on the sparseness of much of the debate in this bill, indeed the speed at which we're operating now. The contrast with the domestic abuse bill, in which the noble lady Baroness McIntosh of Pickering and I are operating, is clear. We really are struggling to manage to deal with this bill. We have a tiny, sparse crew, and that's no insult to anyone here, particularly when you contrast it to the domestic abuse bill. Everyone here is working very hard, but my lords, with the best will in the world, we can't match the kind of scrutiny, the kind of outcomes that Finance Watch has regularly delivered for the EU and that we urgently need in the UK. We've talked a lot about regulatory and policy capture. It's been well documented. Lawyers, my lords, talk about the need for equality of arms in court cases. In the oversight of the financial sector and its regulation, there is an extreme inequality of arms. FUSN wouldn't be a magic wand, but it would be a start. I beg leave to move these amendments.